The first time I saw her cry, it wasn't loud or dramatic. It was the quiet kind of pain that sits in a person's chest and slowly breaks them from the inside. Rain streaked down the hospital window behind her, the world outside moving on as if nothing had ended, while she stood frozen, holding a paper cup of untouched tea, her eyes empty in a way that frightened me more than tears ever could. That was the moment I realized some losses don't scream, they suffocate. And I had no idea that years later, those same eyes would look at me and silently beg me not to walk away. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a moment right now. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in quiet moments that change lives forever, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Your support keeps stories like this alive. I met her after the funeral, not during the chaos of condolences but in the long, hollow aftermath when everyone else had returned to their lives. She lived 2 doors down from my sister's apartment, a small place with cracked paint and a balcony that caught the evening sun just right. People called her the widow without meaning harm, as if that single word explained everything she was. She wore soft colors, spoke politely, and smiled in a way that felt practiced rather than felt. I didn't know her well then, only enough to notice that she never laughed too loudly and never talked about the past. Over time, small things brought us closer. A power outage where we shared candles. A broken water pipe that forced the neighbors into the hallway, complaining and joking, while she stood quietly to the side until I offered her my phone flashlight. We began exchanging greetings, then conversations, then long silences that felt comfortable rather than awkward. I learned she had once loved music but hadn't touched a piano since her husband died. She learned that I avoided hospitals because of memories I never explained. What struck me most was how strong she appeared on the surface, how she carried herself like someone who had learned to survive by becoming invisible. People praised her resilience, told her how brave she was, how, well, she had handled everything. They didn't see the nights when her light stayed on until dawn, or the way she flinched at sudden noises, or how she held her breath before answering simple questions. Grief had not left her weak. It had left her tired. The challenge wasn't falling for her. That happened slowly, naturally, like realizing you've been holding onto something precious without knowing when it slipped into your hands. The real struggle was fear, mine and hers. I was afraid of becoming a replacement, a shadow standing where another man once stood. She was afraid of being seen only as what she had lost, not what she still was. Every step forward felt like betrayal to her past and danger to her heart. As weeks turned into months, our bond deepened in ways neither of us spoke about. We shared dinners that stretched into midnight conversations. We walked through quiet streets, the city humming softly around us, both pretending not to notice how close our hands brushed. I watched her come alive in small ways, humming while washing dishes, smiling when she thought no one was looking. And yet, every time things felt too close, she pulled back, retreating behind politeness and distance. The night everything changed came without warning. A storm rolled in suddenly, heavy rain pounding against the windows, thunder shaking the walls. The power went out again, plunging the building into darkness. I knocked on her door to check on her, telling myself it was just neighborly concern. She opened it slowly, candlelight flickering behind her, her face pale, eyes glossy with something deeper than fear of the storm. Inside, the air felt thick with unspoken words. The rain outside blurred the world into shadows and sound, isolating us in that small room. She tried to make conversation, but her hands trembled as she poured tea, spilling a little onto the table. I suggested I should go once the rain eased, afraid of crossing a line neither of us had named. That was when she looked at me, not with politeness, not with practiced strength, but with raw honesty that stripped away every mask she wore. Her voice was barely a breath, heavy with years of swallowed pain, when she asked if I thought she was just a widow. Not a woman, not someone who still felt lonely and scared and alive, but only a reminder of death. In that moment, I saw everything she had been carrying alone. The nights she slept on the edge of the bed. The guilt for wanting warmth again. The fear that loving someone new meant erasing the old love. She didn't ask for romance or promises. She asked not to be abandoned in her most vulnerable moment. Staying that night wasn't about desire. It was about presence. About sitting with someone while the storm raged outside and inside them. We talked until the candles burned low, sharing stories we had never told anyone else. She spoke of the night her husband died, of how the house felt too big afterward, of how people slowly stopped checking in. I spoke of my own losses, of the walls I had built to avoid pain. There was no drama, no grand gestures, just two broken people choosing honesty over fear. That night marked the beginning of change. Not a perfect, easy transformation, but a slow healing. She began to reclaim parts of herself, playing music again, laughing without apology. I learned that loving someone with scars doesn't mean fixing them, it means respecting where they've been. The label of widow faded, replaced by her name, her dreams, her strength. The biggest challenge remained learning how to move forward without erasing the past. We honored it instead. We spoke openly about grief, about memory, about how love doesn't disappear, it expands. The space in her heart wasn't empty, it was growing. By the time spring arrived, the balcony flowers bloomed again, and so did she. Neighbors noticed the change, the lightness in her steps, the way she stood taller. But what mattered most was the quiet certainty between us. She was no longer afraid to ask someone to stay. And I was no longer afraid to be the one who did. If this story touched something inside you, if it reminded you of someone you've lost, someone you're afraid to love, or a second chance you almost walked away from, please take a moment now to like this video, share it, and subscribe to The Kindness Chronicles. Your engagement helps these stories reach hearts that need them. Before this story ends, I have one special request. Go to the comments and write one line, just one, about what kindness, love, or second chances mean to you. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read tonight.